Hey guys, Livy here. Welcome back to the channel. You would have seen in my last video that it was all about dinner prep, and that was a huge day, well, 2 days. It was exhausting, but I'm so glad that I got it done because my freezer is ready for me for when the baby comes. I have added a couple more meals too, like I said I would, so I'm pretty darn pleased. I do have more I want to add, but we'll see if we get to that before the baby arrives. Yesterday we had a checkup at the hospital and baby's fine. That's all good. But I will be having this baby a little bit earlier than planned, which means that I need to get a move on and get all this breakfast prep that I really want to get done just sorted. It's going to look different than what I originally planned, but oh well, I just go with the flow. Who cares? We do what we can. And if we have anything prepped, then that's just a bonus. Today I want to make 4 recipes, and I am making recipes different than I originally planned. I was going to do a whole bunch of breakfast burritos. It's not happening. I'm not doing breakfast burritos. First of all, my kids have just plowed through those tortillas, which I should have anticipated. It took me a really long time to get to this stage from my Costco haul that you've seen. So I've used up all that meat appropriately, so nothing's gone to waste. But just some of the stuff that I had planned to use got used for other things due to convenience. For instance, those eggs. We are nearly halfway through, no, we're over halfway through a pack of those 30 eggs. I think I've got 6 left. Maybe 4. I don't know. I have about 34 eggs left from that Costco haul, which there's a huge amount of eggs, but we have just been chowing down on them. And I have been buying eggs too, which I thought, oh, I'll just buy eggs so they don't touch my stash. And they've been touching my stash, which is totally fine. Things are meant to be eaten, but that does mean I'm not going to make as much stuff as I originally planned. Again, fine, we can handle this. So what we're going to do is 4 recipes today. I will link them all below, but the plan is, tentatively, and we'll see how we go, I'm going to make some bagels. Not my usual bagel recipe that I love and adore. That bagel recipe takes multiple days, which right now, I don't know if I'll have energy for multiple days, or I don't know what's going to happen. Multiple days time, things are a little bit up in the air. So today I've got time, so today it's all going to be done. So I've picked up a recipe online that I think will work great. It's Sally's Baking Addiction, which if you've ever gone to Sally's, you'll know that you're pretty much guaranteed to have a great recipe either way. So I'm going to make some bagels there. I'm going to double that recipe. Never done it before, never tried it, but I'm pretty confident with the source material that doubling it, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. The other recipe I'm going to make is some English muffins. I've never made English muffins before. Again, another Sally's recipe. This one's going to take a little bit more time. It does say, like, for best results, do like a 24-hour rise. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. We're just going to do our best, and hopefully they'll still be delicious. I think they will be. But I'm not going to double that recipe because I've never made any English muffins before. So rather than, like, test myself, I've made bagels plenty of times. So I feel like I'm familiar enough with kind of the process, but English muffins are a little bit of a different game for me. So we're going to do that. We're also going to do some granola. I love homemade granola, and I have a whole bunch of ingredients in my cupboard that I planned on using for homemade granola. And now that I have this gorgeous oven, I want to do it. And we're going to fill up one of my jars that I have, so hopefully we can get a heap of granola. It's something that I just snack on, and with the baby coming, and you know, you just got to be able to eat what you can eat. I think that's a good one to have prepped. And the final one is a little bit more of a fun thing for me. I have been walking past Baker's Delight for every time I go shopping, because it's just where my grocery stores are. And it's a little bakery, like it's a chain bakery, and they have been having these really lovely scones, and they had peach and raspberry, and I bought one. And I'm not a big scone person, but I bought one. It was so good. I think I have raspberries in the freezer, and I know I have peach jam that I really want to use up, so I'm going to try and make those scones. I've never made scones before, so hopefully that turns out well too, and they can go in the freezer if I want, or they'll just be for fresh eating, so who knows. I'm hoping that I will get most of this cooking done way before dinner so I can put my feet up and relax. With that said though, it's time for us to get ready and get going. Now the first recipe that I need to make is the English muffins, and that's because they take the longest to rise. Like I said, ideally they want to do a two-day rise, like a 24 hours in the fridge. I'm not doing that. I know it will develop flavors nicer, but it's just not in the cards today. So we're going to get it going. We're going to put it in a different bowl, let that sit, and then we're going to work on the bagels. that should be delicious and yum, and hopefully be enough time. Now, I printed all my recipes out, although one of them didn't print, so I had to write it out because I've never made these before. And I find that paper is easier. I can always mark things down, especially taking them off to see where I'm at. I'm notoriously terrible at that. I don't want to mess these recipes up. So we're going to start with the English muffins. We're going to do it in my KitchenAid mixer, and then we're going to let it sit. Like I said, we're not doubling it, but I'm hoping this will be delicious. Now, I did read through this recipe, and I'm pretty sure I need to put some butter into the freezer for one of my recipes, which is going to be the scones, and I've decided that they're not going to be dairy-free. I have some salted butter, even though the recipe calls for unsalted. And like I said, I'll link all these below so you have access to everything. And yeah, I'm putting an apron on because this belly bumps on everything, so it's going to be so dirty by the end of the day. But I've read through everything. I know what needs to happen. I'm still probably going to muck up. Still going to probably make mistakes and things, but that is what happens when you're cooking with me. I'm getting better at cooking, but I'm still not the best at it. So we'll worry about the butter for the scones later on. We will just get started with these English muffins, I think. I'm not using bread flour. I just don't have any, but I do have some wholemeal flour that I want to incorporate, especially into the bagels. From Sally's notes, she said that you can mix about half whole wheat. I'm going to use wholemeal with the flour, so we might do that just to add a little bit of a yum boost, because wholemeal flour is one of my favorites to work with. First thing that I need to do, according to this recipe, is 300 milliliters of milk warmed to about 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 38 degrees Celsius, and then add in some active dry yeast. And let it sit for 5 minutes or until foamy. So we've let this sit for 5 minutes, and now we are going to add in our melted butter that we have let cool slightly. And then we're going to add in an egg, some salt, and we need about 130 grams of the wholemeal flour, and then 1 cup of bread flour, which we're just going to use all purpose. We're going to whisk it and see how it goes. So I need another cup of flour. Really sticky. All right. It's supposed to be really sticky, but okay. So we're going to cover it tightly. We'll see how this goes. I have the English muffins sitting over there. They are just going to sit for 2 hours. I've washed out my dough hook, and I am just wiping down my bowl because we're going to get started with the next thing that has about an hour and a half of resting time and rising time, which is the bagels. And like I said, I'm going to double this recipe, and I've never made it before. So the dough for the English muffins looks really sticky, which is fine. That's what the recipe said to expect. But this one I am hoping turns out nice too. I'm a little bit not nervous, kind of excited actually, because we love bagels in this house. To start off, I'm just going to get some warm water going and the yeast. And then once those two have melded together and become best friends, we're going to add some flour, brown sugar, and some salt. I'll let that go for a bit. All right, let's check on these. Oh, they're really sticky. I wonder if it's that wholemeal flour that might have made them a bit stickier, which is fine. We're gonna add a little bit more. You don't wanna add too much flour from what I understand, because it can make it really dry, but I think, yeah, based on how sticky that is still, we're gonna add some more and let that go. We're gonna add more normal flour to that, see how that goes. I really don't want to add too much to make it wet and make it too dry, but it's really not coming together the way it should. So I'm gonna go with what instinct's telling me. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put this in the bowl, cover it up, clean up my mess, let this sit for an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how quick it rises. It's pretty warm in here. I've got the heat on, so it's nice, but We'll let this rise, and then we're gonna start working on our scones. So I'm just gonna reset this area and let's do the next thing. So I've cleaned up, we have both the scones going, and that still has another hour before it's ready. And having a look at it, it actually does look like it's rising pretty well. We have the bagels going. They'll take about an hour to an hour and a half. So I've written down times when they're ready to be checked. I might let them rise a little longer if I think it needs it, just because it is winter time and it's a colder kitchen right now. But we're gonna turn our attention to these scones, however you say it. We're gonna do this, and it does say to use a bowl and then a pastry cutter. I do have one, but I'm like, you know what I use for pastry cutting usually? It's my food processor. So I won't try and make the scones there. It doesn't say to do that. It doesn't even give instructions like a potential note. But I like to live my life on the edge, and I'm gonna do it that way. So it just sounds a little bit easier than me having to manually cut butter into pastry. This one will probably be in the oven first, which is great. We'll probably go to the, potentially, we'll see which one's done first. I think I'll let the bagel sit for a little bit longer than normal, just because I think there's so much of it and it's quite a heavy dough. It's gonna take a little bit to rise that bit extra. And then I will just focus on the English muffins, get them done. Now, reading through the instructions, this one uses all-purpose flour. I'm not gonna shift my flour to wholemeal. I think I've got enough with those two. That'll be fine. I am gonna use heavy cream, not buttermilk. And my vanilla extract, I don't have like normal vanilla. I have the really nice fancy stuff because that's just what I've got. So we're going to whisk the flour, sugar, salt, and baking powder together in a large bowl, and then grate the frozen butter using a box grater. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna cube it up and then we'll pulse it. So place it in the fridge and freezer as you mix the wet ingredients together. So this is my dry. You know what? I'm just gonna pop this lid on and we're gonna pop this in the fridge for a bit. Now it's time to get onto our wet ingredients, and I will need a bowl for that. We are going to do the next part, which is whisk a half a cup of heavy cream, the egg, and vanilla extract together. So it says that I need to drizzle over the flour mixture, this, over this, then add my add-ons, and then mix until everything appears moistened. Maybe we'll pour everything back in here. I think that's probably the way to go. This was not the greatest idea. All right, that's fine. We can handle this. Let's do this first. So let's just give this a right old mix, just till everything appears moistened, which doesn't look like it's gonna take long because there's a lot of moisture, it looks like, in here. I'm not overly familiar with scones. I might have made them like as a teenager during food tech at school, but beyond that, it's not really something that I would turn to. It's a very English recipe. And oh, my mother was a very American style cook. So I need to wet my hands, and then we're gonna put this in a bowl. It's sticky, but if it's too sticky, we add more flour, which we might need to just because our add-in is quite wet also. Ooh, it's very, very sticky. So let's add some flour to it. I've never made scones before, so I really don't know what I'm doing. My best is really the only answer I can give, but it's slowly coming together, slowly. And then we need to cut into 8 wedges. We need to put them on a plate or a lined baking sheet, and we're gonna refrigerate it for at least 15 minutes, which kind of needs to kind of pull itself together. You're supposed to let the scones sit in the fridge for like 15 minutes. It's been like 40 minutes. I needed a break. My feet were starting to swell up, so I needed to sit down. I did put a time down that I needed to check on all of my like doughs that I've got sitting out. And I am well past what I need to check on those, which is fine. Everything's just proofing and it's a bit cooler. The bagel dough looks like it's pretty much ready to go, and I think the English muffins are pretty ready to go too, but we're gonna focus on getting the scones into the oven first, because they take, according to my recipe here, like 18 to 26 minutes. And I think this one, they need to be shaped and kind of sit for a little bit. and then I get the water and oven ready. So I'm actually going to focus on the scones, get them sorted, and then we're going to do the bagels, shape them, and get them going, and probably try and work on the English muffins. Granola at this stage is a big maybe. We'll see if we get it done today. Feeling like this baby's going to come soon. So I am just preparing to get what's already started sorted before anything more can throw a spanner in my work. So what I think I might actually do while I'm waiting for the oven to preheat, I'm going to clear up a bunch of this just stuff. Maybe put some stuff in the dishwasher and then come up with my next thing that I'm going to do. And it's going to be great. And hopefully by then I'll have the scones in the oven. And when I have the scones in, I'll show you. So let's just start doing something. We're going to pop in these scones. For, what did it say? 18, let's go 20 minutes. So the scones are going. It's good. These look so good. They're a bit, I knew that they had a lot of liquid in them just because of the strawberries, so I would need to put them on a tray so they can cool down and hopefully not dry out too much, but I mean, they look pretty good. I'm gonna try one. Oh, that's nice. So they didn't hold their shape as nice, which is fine. I think that comes from the fact that they're probably a little bit too liquidy. Just gonna put my tray up there, just because of that strawberry. Next time I make these, because yes, there'll be a next time, they do look really good. They did meld a little bit in some places, but that's fine. I'm gonna turn them upside down to kind of let that bottom that's been sitting for a little bit too long dry out. I think chopping the strawberries would have been a better idea, but I am going to finish eating that. But I need to get these moved because, oh yeah, the strawberries just really make it soft. So I don't know if maybe chop the strawberries up and then really make sure that they're nice and frozen, and then pop them in the oven probably quicker than what I did. But they've got a nice color to them, a really nice taste. The strawberries are good, and they'll still be good. So definitely a recipe I'll make again, but I've got some improvements to make on that. So we're gonna move this out of the way, and now we're gonna get started on shaping those bagels. Now I have water currently heating up on the stove. The oven is going. I'm just gonna make sure it's at the right temperature. And that is my dough. Look how good that looks. It's probably gonna stick to that plastic. I should have sprayed it. But we're gonna shape the bagels, put them on the trays, and then from there, we will put them in the water, and then we will get them going. So I'm not as comfortable, I'm confident, I would say, with this one. And it might be because I added too much wholemeal or whatever, I don't know. I probably did not knead these enough, not what I wanted. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, just stir this up. This looks good. We're at a boil. I'm going to see if I can do 2 at a time, at least with these small ones that I've just popped on. Let's pop that in. And I'm going to do 2 minutes per side minimum, just because, well, I can maybe do 3 actually, because these aren't really big bagels. I'm going to add this everything bagel seasoning, because I love everything bagel seasoning. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to pop it in the oven for about 20 minutes. So let's just start going with this. So these bagels, even though they looked small when I was putting them inside the water, they puffed up massive. I probably kept them in the water too long. Part of that was just I forgot about them, to be honest. But I popped them onto this baking tray, and then I covered them with the seasoning. Did the same with the second one. As you can see, they get enormous. Now I'm working on these English muffins, and I was really intimidated with them before I even started. I mean, this dough seemed really sticky, and I'm using semolina flour to just make them not as sticky. Just coat them on my hands and also on the small discs themselves. But honestly, I actually really enjoyed this. I think that the English muffins were probably my favorite thing that I made this day. They turned out great. What I wish I'd done is probably doubled this recipe, and also that I wish I had made them a little bit bigger, because although they puff up when you put them on the stove, which I'm putting semolina flour down first, I wish that I had probably had the stove a little bit lower, but this is my first time making it. And you flatten them out and they do kind of puff up nicely, but I wish it was a little bit bigger so that when you cooked them like in the toaster or something, it came out really nice. Now, as you also can see, I'm burning the semolina flour because it's just too hot. But rather than get rid of it, I just replaced it and put more on top because I wasn't about to make my life more difficult. By this time, I am completely exhausted from the day. And so I just flip them as they turn brown, and then afterwards you pop them into the oven for like, I think it's 10-ish minutes. It's really not that long, and they just come out, and I'm so pleased with them. I put them all in one tray, but like, look at how nice these look. They are just, I'm so proud of them. I've never made them before, but this is definitely something that I will make in the future. They, as you can see, this is everything, the scones in the back, the bagels at the front, and just the English muffins on the side here. They just look so good, and they tasted really, really amazing too. I'm really pleased with them. It's now late at night. I have finished cooking everything, taken a huge break. It's not like I've been up all day doing this. It took longer than expected. I imagine that had I been like at my full normal self, not pregnant and not really tired and a little bit unwell, that I would have been able to do like probably double or triple this amount, but it does mean that in the future that I'm going to give that a shot. So I'm really, really pleased with what I ended up doing. I'll show you guys that we ended up having this for dinner, which was great. So my husband had the English muffin, and then my kids and I had the bagels, and they're so good. I'm so pleased. I did not think that those bagels were going to turn out. You guys saw and heard me when I was like putting them together, that there was really sticky dough. They taste different to the one that I usually make, but considering it was a lot less time, I kind of was pleased, and the whole meal actually tasted really good in the end. So I'm really glad that I did the 50-50, even if it made it really sticky. The English muffins, so satisfying to do. I did burn semolina when I was doing it. I think my pan was a little bit hot, but I'm learning with the new stove, so it was really good to give it a try. They came together so much easier than I thought. They were actually the more intimidating out of the two. I've made bagels plenty of times, but English muffins not so much. So I'm really glad that I gave that a go, and it turned out great. They are really good. So they'll be popped away, and the scones are really good too. They've got dairy in it, so it's for my kids and me, but it's just something fun, and it used up some leftover strawberries that were in my freezer. Definitely some things that I want to improve on with that, but overall pretty good. Like, I wanted them probably to rise a bit more, but I think that was just maybe I don't know, maybe when I was blitzing them in the food processor, I should have grated them properly. Either way, everything turned out to be a success, which I was not expecting at all. Very pleased. When my kids walked in the door, actually, from school today, they were both like, oh, it smells amazing in here, and they couldn't stop begging for a try for things. And that feels really good when your kids want to eat something that you've baked, because I haven't had an oven in so long that I haven't had a chance to bake things. So pleased with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bag everything up. I'm going to pop it in the freezer, probably leave a couple out so that we can have it for breakfast tomorrow. We don't know what the next coming days are going to be like. I don't know what to expect. There's a baby coming, so we'll probably have the baby within the week, which is exciting, but it does mean that all this prep work that I have dedicated my time to is coming to fruition. I really appreciate you guys watching, and make sure to comment below if there's anything that you do for breakfast that you think is amazing. Obviously, I can't do it now, but in the future when I plan on doing some of this stuff, because it's already handy for me just to have things ready to go for like dinner and things, I really will be looking through previous comments and stuff just to get an idea of what I want to do. But really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, but I will catch you guys on the next one. See ya.